how to choose happiness. Yes, how to choose happiness and open to the pure positive source consciousness. Happiness is a choice. It's a conscious choice. It involves a bit of work, a bit of effort. And we can say that happiness is a science and it's an art. The art of happiness, but it's also a science, and it does involve a bit of practice, a bit of effort, and it's a choice. Why is it a choice? It's very obvious, because your focus constantly chooses its objects. And you need to become aware of your choices. You need to become aware of the noise. You need to become aware of all the influences that attention grabs your attention. And as your mobile phones and the mainstream media and all those negative people saying, wear the mask, and now you can walk down in the street and you can see so obviously, who is living in fear, who is totally controlled, and who kind of expresses their freedom, by wearing the mask, just like, so that I just wear it, and I'm trying to figure ways out. Like, it's now evident, who is totally in fear control, or who is free inside. So you can start to see visually the levels of consciousness, the awakening of humanity. So it's a choice. Happiness is a choice. Joy is a choice. No matter how many bad things may happen to you, you can always raise your head in the sky and say, oh, today it's a beautiful day. The sun is shining. The atmosphere is fresh. The air is fresh. The oxygen supplies all the required elements to your body. You have enough food, you have shelter, you have home, you have friends and family. We're actually living a very, very abundant lives already. The only poverty that there is psychology. Yes, there is physical abundance already. Physically, there is abundance already. Well, of course, it's the Western world and the Eastern world, but certain countries are still struggling, but that's a bigger picture. But overall, there is abundance of food and all the good things, and clothing. Yeah, these days, you don't have to make your own clothes. You don't have to, do your own butter. You don't have to raise your own chickens and do your own milk and break your own bread, unless it's your hobby and then it's your profession. But otherwise, you just go to a supermarket and you get everything you need. So looking overall, happiness is here. Like, really getting your head out of the box, out of your little story, out of your little world. If you really just get your head out of your little world, your world, not the world. The world is nice, it's beautiful. The world is beautiful, the planet is beautiful. That is the world. Yes, that is the world. But your world is a lot smaller. It's only what your eyes can see, and it's only your focus and attention and all the things that you accumulated in your head. But if you just pause for a moment and take your head out of your own little world and look around, it's so nice. It's beautiful. So happiness is a choice, and you can choose. Do you want to sink into your world, or do you want to join the real world? Yes, the real world, going a little bit further, the real world is this universe, and this universe is amazing. It's beautiful. It's massive. It's so abundant. Humanity is currently called type 0.7 civilization. There's a scale of a scientific scale of civilizational advancement. And on the scale of 6, humanity is currently 0.7 on the scale of advancement. 0.7 means that humanity has learned how to utilize certain resources of the planet Earth. And we are approaching on the scale to the point 1, which indicates that soon, hopefully in the next few decades, because on this it's a very large scale. So point 1, so point 1 means that the civilization has advanced enough to become fully sustainable and to utilize all Earth, its own host planet resources. So it becomes fully self-sustainable. It has learned how to use the energy, how to be absolutely self-sustainable, and to some degree harmonious, that it doesn't destroy its own planet on which it lives. So that's on the scale, it's the first type 1 civilization. Type 2 civilization is a little bit more advanced. It's the one who has learned to utilize the resources of its own star system. So in our case, it's a solar system, and we have not learned anything how to utilize the resources of our own star system. So that might take a couple of, decades or hundreds of years, depending on space technologies, which are advancing very, very well, actually. Type 3 is a civilization which has learned to utilize all the galactic resources. My goodness, there is a lot, way, way far to go. And maybe those who watch some Star Trek or other episodes, you know that we're looking at around 500 years right now to reach the type 3 civilization. And type 4 is the one which has learned to utilize the resources of the whole universe. Yeah, so then I will add of the local universe. Yes, of the local universe, because type 5 is the one which is beyond the local universe and has learned how to navigate through other kinds of universes. And type 6 is basically that the civilization is totally merged back into the source, and it is God in itself. It is the consciousness in itself, and it can create its own universes. So so that's where we are today. And that's quite a big of a journey, into the far frontier. Yeah, so this scale is called I don't know how to pronounce it. It's called Kurdashev. If you can Google it, you will find it. And it's as far as I know, it has been invented by a physicist in terms of how civilization learns to utilize the energy resources. So we can see that, our ego is big, but our capacity is tiny. And there's a very, very far way to go in learning how to live in this universe and how to utilize the abundance of this universe. That's the one, Manvir, and thank you for sharing in the chat. Yes, and if you really think out of the box, countries are fighting for localized resources, oil, come on, gas, really, and the coal, my goodness, it's dirty. Why don't we invest the money not to fight for these limited resources, but why don't we invest the money to learn how to utilize natural infinite resources? For example, one of them is the sun. And only now, only in the last few months, the solar energy power plant production became cheaper to make than a nuclear power plant for the same output of electricity. So now the solar energy is actually cheaper than nuclear energy. And that's very good news. So we are going into the right direction, and we need to forget about the oil and coal and gas and so forth, because they're so limiting. And we need to look at the larger resources like the sun, and then eventually the civilization will discover the 0 point energy, which is basically infinite forever. And then it will become the new golden age of all kinds of technologies, which will be absolutely not dependent on anything finite, such as what we use today. So yeah, so this is a little outlook and a little bit of looking into the future. And luckily, our scientists are becoming smarter, and businessmen becoming more innovative, with the space technologies and so forth. So we are on the right direction. We are on the right track. And the only thing that what we are always forgetting is, guess what? Ourselves, our own well-being. Yes, so by the time we go to the Mars and Moon and colonize all the other planets, it would be good that we would figure out our own happiness. Yes, because otherwise we're going to bring all the misery and psychological pain and traumas to other planets. Yeah, so that's a bit of a strange phenomenon, and it's still not addressed on a global scale. So what we need to do is we need to focus on that, and we need to focus on our happiness, and we need to make it our vision, our goal, our purpose, and this happiness to be sustainable, for this happiness to be a choice and not a victim of circumstances. Yeah, so it requires a bit of effort, a bit of conscious work, so that you can choose your happiness always, and you wouldn't become a victim of the circumstances. And no matter what happens, all my life I would, whatever difficulties would come along, I would look at the sun and say, well, that's my happiness. It's a choice. And you can always choose that. So from the human individual condition perspective, the first step, of course, is to realize that your own experience is not reality in itself. This is important. So reality, or relative reality, I'll explain a bit later on, but let's say reality, the world, the planet Earth, is paradise. It's beautiful, and that's the reality. But your own experience, it's your own experience. It's not the actual reality. And we need to distinguish that, because so many people are still identifying that my world is not nice, or it's difficult, or it's this and that. Well, that is your experience, but the reality is nice. The reality is beautiful. It's a paradise planet. You are in the right place. So you have to really separate your own experience and the world, the planet. And then you will see that your own experience, you can change it. And then you can trust that the reality, the planet is beautiful, nice, it's a happy place on earth for everybody. Just they need to learn to live nicely and happily, for everybody. But it's a nice place for everybody. So that is the reality, and you have to really separate those two, because otherwise you will have no power to be happy. You get why this is important? Yes? For your happiness, you have to separate your experience and the planet Earth reality, which is beautiful and nice. And I'm not even talking about the whole universe, how nice it is. So the universe at large, if you can wrap your head around it, is nice, it's loving, it's harmonious, it's beautiful, and that's real. But your experience is your own stuff, and you have to work on that. So separate those two, because the whole universe is beautiful, loving, and a happy place. And your own stuff is your own stuff. And you need to realize, so you can trust the bigger reality. And that's where the power lies, because you're going to be supported by the universe, by God, by consciousness, by divine. So separate those two, because then you bring the power back to you. If you're still thinking that the world is not nice, it's a crazy, thing, it's this and that, you're losing your power. You are losing. What humans do are crazy, but the world is beautiful. And you have to separate those two things. It's like splitting the timeline. You have to separate them too, so that you realize the actual happiness, the actual beauty. And the reality, what we just discussed about, which is beautiful, happy, harmonious, a nice place to be, it's what I call the relative reality. Because the other step, deeper or closer, it's the absolute reality, and that is your true nature. It is consciousness itself, and that is the realization that who you really are is, we may say, the witness, the awareness of the transient energy, transient objectivity, of the transient events, experiences. And there is something permanent inside you. There is something stable inside you all the time, regardless of experiences. There is something stable. And that is what we may call the witness awareness, for a better explanation for everybody. Because in reality, consciousness is all, but so that it's easier for you to understand, let's call it the witness awareness, which is stable. And this witness awareness has never changed. How? When you were a kid, you felt that this moment is real. When you were dreaming, you felt that this moment is real. When you became teenage, you felt that this moment is real. Now you're feeling that this moment is real. And in the next 5 years, you're going to feel that this moment is real. And in the next 50 years, you're going to feel that this moment is real, because it is real. And the realness of it is the awareness itself. The only thing that changes is your age, is your body, it's your understanding, it's your memories, it's your experiences, and what you see. That changes. But the knowing that this moment is real, it's always present. And it is the awareness, seeing every present moment. It never stopped seeing. And this awareness never stopped seeing. Your focus changed all the time. It always changes, this or that, always changes your focus. But your awareness doesn't change. It's always present, always here. It's permanent, it's stable. And that is the absolute reality. That is the absolute happiness. Yes? So we can see again that the regular human experience is quite difficult. Let's call it a bubble or a cloud. And then the person with their bubble is within the earth and within the universe, which is beautiful. And it's a loving place. It's a very life-supporting place. So coming from the individual experience to the actual reality, it's a beautiful awakening. And then there is a next step further from the manifested reality into the absolute awareness, which is always permanent, stable, and that's the absolute happiness. So this is the journey to happiness. And it starts with the choice, the conscious choice. And you may say it's difficult to be happy. Yes, it's actually easy to be not happy. It's easy to be not happy. Yes, and happiness, you have to work on it. And you have to learn, and it's an art. And it has a bit of science in it. One thing that always helps, I will give you a very important secret to happiness, an open secret. It's one of the most important secrets to happiness. And it's very, very simple. You know, it's nothing grand, it's simple. So one of the biggest secrets to happiness, and now listen carefully, I want your full attention. It is your smile. Yes, it is your smile. And focus for a moment, become serious, because I'm really serious that one of the biggest secrets of happiness is your smile. Yes, the reason why I put it in this way, so that you pay attention and recognize the importance of it. Yes, because your own smile, it is when you smile, what happens neurologically, that when you smile, just the smile itself, the muscle position itself, which is your smile, is sending neurological signals to your brain that you are happy. Yes, so when you smile, when you put the muscles up, which you call a smile, the neurological signals are being sent to your brain that you are happy. Even though emotionally you might not feel happy, you know, you say, oh, this is a really rubbish day, you know, it's so difficult. Put a little smile on your face, and you're gonna start getting the chemistry in your brain of happiness. Yes, and the chemistry will become produced in your brain of happiness. Because the brain simply receives the signals, and you can train the brain to be happy. You know, if every day you're miserable, well, you're training your brain to be miserable. So it becomes a regular mode, a regular habit. Yeah, you want your habit to be your smile. You want your habit to be happiness. When you make your habit of happiness and smile, happiness will be there automatically. It's gonna be easy. So smile has a lot of science behind it, because it produces the chemistry for your brain of happiness. Yes, and then since your brain becomes used to happiness, it starts to resonate on a higher frequency. So it starts to ignore slowly the lower vibrations. Oh, I don't like these situations. Why would I do this? Why would I be there? I want to be happy because that's what I'm used to. Yeah, so it changes your life. It's the law of attraction. It's the law of manifestation. So having a smile on your face, it's one of the key tools of happiness. And guess what? It is for free. Yes, and guess what? It's abundant. And it's not dependent on how much money you have, on your work position situation, on your relationship and whatnot. It's for free. And it's always available. Just put your lips a bit higher and it's available. Yeah, so this is very, very important tool. What happens then is since you're smiling, you're putting the chemistry and neurological signals in the brain that you're happy. And then what happens, it starts to rewire your nervous system. Yeah, it starts to rewire your nervous system that you prefer happiness state. And then when you continuously train at first, yes, it's a bit of a training, or I call it retraining how to be happy. So you're training yourself with a bit of conscious effort at first, but then it becomes a habit. It becomes automatic, and that's a good habit, and that's fine. You can keep it because it's a good one. So then emotionally, since your nervous system is getting wired for happiness, and it's preferring the happiness chemistry in your biology, in your cellular memory. So what happens that other emotional states become less relevant. They become not so important anymore. They become less relevant. And you know how many people put so much importance on what is wrong, on what is bad? Why do we put so much importance on what's wrong, what's bad? Because it's wrong. And that's a trap. And that's a trap. If you give importance to what is wrong, if you give importance to what is bad, you are focusing on it, you're putting your energy there, and if you constantly are doing that, you're training yourself to be in a wrong state. Because that is your preference, apparently. That's how the universe interprets. If you constantly prefer to focus on what's wrong, well, that's your preference. Fine. If you like that, we're going to give you more of that. Because there is a law of abundance. And what does the law of abundance says? That which you truly like and that which you focus on constantly, you're going to get more of that. That is the law of abundance. So you have to watch out of what you do day by day. Yeah, you have to become aware of what you're doing day by day, of what you're focusing moment to moment. So with some conscious training, with a smile on your face, knowing that this smile helps you to become happier. You know, maybe at first somebody will say it's a fake smile and blah, blah, blah. And these are the people who are negative and they don't want you to be happy. Get away from them. And say, I prefer my fake smile because I'm happy. And if you prefer your judgments, well, that's your reality. Yeah, so don't let anyone to put you down. Yeah, don't allow anyone to put you down. Don't submit to, I'm sorry for the words, bullshit. Yeah, don't submit to that. Because it's so easy to be negative, because it's so easy to judge. because it's so easy to blame. It's the easy way, the easiest way ever. A fool can do that. But happiness, that's a bit of wisdom. That is an art, a bit of science, and that is your choice. Yes, that is your choice. And you can choose that, and you can train yourself. And you can recognize how your biology works, how your nervous system works, how your muscle responses work, how your subconsciousness works. And you will recognize that the smile is your main tool. Yeah, it's the main tool. Yes, because it will always assist you, no matter what. And if you just walk down the street, but now it's a bit difficult with the masks. I wanted to say, you can share happiness with others. You can share your smile with others. But when you smile, even your eyes become a bit, happier. There's like these called the happy wrinkles. You want to get those. When you grow old, you want to get those. You want to get the happy wrinkles. You don't want to get the sad, miserable wrinkles. Because they're going to settle in, after a few decades. So when you smile, even your eyes are happy. So it's still, there is a certain energy, a certain vibration being transmitted. Yeah, so happiness, and the smile is for free. And it's one of the most beautiful things there is. And it's one of the most valuable things there is. And this world is lacking a bit of that, of happiness. Yeah, it's lacking a bit. There are many smart people. There are many judgmental people. There are many, well, who knows, average people. They're just, flowing wherever life is going. But the awakened people should show the way, of happiness. Yes, this is our duty, to show the way of happiness.